one here. Find the height and base lengths of a triangle that has an area of 24 and height 2 centimeters more than its base. All right, well, there's a couple of ways you could solve this. We'll just look at one way. Well, you've got a triangle, right? And it says that we know the area is 24 and the height is 2 centimeters more than its base. So the height is 2 centimeters more than its base. So we could either call this the base and its height is 2 centimeters more than the base. So that would be b plus 2, right? That's one way you could do it. And I could say b equals the base, the length of the base of the triangle. Or alternatively, I mean, you could define your variables differently. I could call this the height, right? And where I could say let h equal the height. Now you want to always just try and eliminate one variable. So if that's the height, and if I know that the height is 2 centimeters more than the base, well, wouldn't this be the height minus 2? Now, it doesn't matter which way you go about doing this, they'll both lead you to the same answer. You can define it as the base or the height. I'm going to go with this one to start off with. We'll have a look at both of these. So if we've got the base, right, well, we know that the area, because we're given the area, so that will help us, solve for B. The area of a triangle is half the base times the height, right? Half times base times height. So we know the area equals half, and the base in this times is B times B times B plus 2. So I can have this as A equals, I'm going to leave the half here just as a bit of a trick. I'll show you why later. You'll like this. B times B is going to give me B squared. B times 2 is going to give me plus 2B. Now still this is all times by a half, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sub in the area of equals 24. So we know the area equals 24, and that is equal to a half. And this is why I didn't multiply my half in, because I'm actually going to multiply both sides by 2 now. If I multiply this thing by 2, that will all go away. So that's going to be 48 equals b squared plus 2b. So you can do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you could have expanded it, and you would have had b squared on 2 plus b. And then, you could have had minus 24, but you would have still had to try and get rid of that half, and that gets a bit tricky with the triangles. So see how you go with this one. So what we do now is I can let 0 equals b squared plus 2b minus 48. Two numbers give 48, have a difference, absolute value difference of 2. 8 and 6. So therefore, b will equal negative 8 and 6. B obviously needs to be greater than 0. Find the height and base lengths of the triangle is what we're trying to do. So therefore, b equals 6 meters, and the height equals the base plus 2, 8 meters. 6 times 8 is, what are we, 48, right? And half of that will give us, excellent, that'll be right. Oh, and it's centimeters. Sorry, it's not meters. Just read the question again. Alternatively, so that would have been how you can get that one there. We could have done this way. Again, the area equals half base times height. We know the base is h times 2. H minus 2 multiplied by h. I'm just going to expand these two and leave the half there. H squared minus 2h.
Sir?
Yep.
I hate to ask, but wouldn't you times 24 by a half?
You shouldn't.
By half of 24, which is 36. No.
No, I'm going to times it by 2 because it's a half. I want to get rid of the half. So if you're halving things, I want to get rid of it, so I'm going to double it. And because another way I could write this would be like this. A equals h squared minus 2h all on 2, right? Because it's all halved. Because it's half of that, isn't it? Are you happy with that or not really?
Yeah.
Yep. So now I can sub in. So does that make more sense? So that would be the same thing over here as well. I could have written this as b squared plus 2b on 2. So can you see that there? I'll just multiply by 2. So I'm going to sub in a equals 24. And then you get 24 equals h squared minus 2h on 2. And then you just multiply the same thing. I'll just move across a little bit, gives a bit more room. My writing's just gotten really messy. Multiply both sides by 2. 48 equals h squared minus 2h. 0 equals h squared minus 2h minus 48. 0 equals h minus 8. H plus 6 would be my factors for this one. Gives me negative 48. Gives me a balance of negative 8h plus 6h will give me negative 2h. I still got the h squared. So therefore, h equals 8 and negative 6. As h needs to be greater than 0, h equals 8. So I've got the height is 8, and obviously the base is 8 minus 2. Base equals 6. And you can see that we still got the same answer, and that should be centimeters. So it doesn't matter which way you go about it, but these triangle ones are a little bit tricky. The one piece of advice I would suggest to you is to do this. Leave it there. Then you can multiply the 2 across. And then once you've got this number over here, then you can minus it, and then you can actually figure out the null factor law. I mean, you can expand it. I'll just show you what happens if you expand one. Let's just go to this one and just expand it, just to sort of show you. So we'll break in at this step here, and we'll just do this one. So a equals half. We've got h minus 2h. So let's just expand this one like what we did last time. That's going to be h squared minus 2h. Now I'm going to multiply the half, so the area equals h on 2 minus h, because that's a half times 2h will give you h. That would be half h squared. So now if you put the area in a equals 24, we're going to substitute a equals 24 in the area. So now you're going to have 24 equals h on 2 minus h. That's h squared, sorry. Now here you could multiply by 2 again to get rid of it, or you could put the 0 on the other side. It doesn't really matter. Let's just bring this across. Let's go 0 equals h squared on 2 minus h minus 24. Now I'm going to times everything by 2 just to get rid of this and have it as a h factor. If I times everything by 2, I need to do it to every term. So it's going to be h squared minus 2h minus 48. Notice now we've got back to exactly the same situation where we were before, which is here. Then we can just factorize that. I mean, alternatively, we could have, at this step, we could have times every term by 2, and that just would have made it h squared minus 2h equals 48. And then when you rearrange it, it's still going to change to the same thing. So you still can do that. I just find it easier to do it like that, just for the flow of it. But yeah, that's question, that one there, which I think quite good. What question was that? That was question 15. So that helps. And that's it.